Welcome to the Ashua podcast, a space for souls ready to explore the unseen world of energy, intuition, and soul remembrance. Here, we dive into everything from starseeds and ascension to the psychic senses, past lives, and soul alignment. This is a podcast by me, Alicia, at ashua.space. Today we are going to speak about the star origin Sirius A. And I'm trying something new today. So today I'm actually filming this episode. So if you want to watch this episode, you can do so on our YouTube channel, Ashua and the Vibrancy Club. But now to the star origin Sirius A. If there's two words I would like to use to describe the energy and beings on Sirius A or connected to Sirius A, it would be knowledge and cold. And I want to explain why. First, when I tune into Sirius A, I perceive the atmosphere as cold. If I compare the atmosphere of Sirius A and Sirius B, the atmosphere in Sirius A is way colder. And sometimes I see icy environments, especially when I view the lower frequency timelines. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's icy up there, that there's literal ice. I have a feeling that's my subconscious translating the energy to me. So if we interpret ice metaphorically instead, ice is frozen water. Water represents our emotions, and if it's frozen water, then that would represent frozen emotions. And that's actually in alignment with the overall energy that I'm getting on the sort of lower frequency timelines. And that leads me to the second note I've written for today. When I look at certain timelines, I see leaders who are very mentally focused and disconnected from the heart. They are intelligent, they are strategic and powerful, yet emotionally distant. They try to solve everything through the mind. That is one reason I associate Sirius A with coldness. And I actually think that the atmosphere for real is colder physically, but that's not really my specialty. I like to focus on the programming behind all beings, no matter if it's humans, Sirians, Pleiadians. I like the coding and the programming, the dynamic. That is really what I like to focus on. And third, when I look at lower frequency timelines of Sirius A or on Sirius A, I see patterns connected to greed, power, and control. And that's interesting, because we often blame these traits on reptilians. But there are timelines on Sirius A where beings become overly identified with the mental plane and lose connection to the heart. That's the three reasons why I perceive the Sirian A energy to be cold. And the way I work as a psychic channel is that I usually tune into the frequency that I need information on. And I feel like those timelines are the timelines we as humans are leaving behind. Because these imbalances is something I also associate with Atlantis. If you tune into the fall of Atlantis, you can sense how advanced technological knowledge was. There was a lot heavy mental energy, metal energy, and technological energy. That was the focal point. And that wasn't fully balanced with emotional wisdom and the heart coherence. And that is why I believe these Sirius A timelines show up for us now, especially today with the rise of AI. This lesson is more important than ever. It is not only about what is efficient and profitable, it is also about how decisions feel. When it comes to the question where to draw the line with AI, if we go the mental route, that would be us repeating that timeline. So the way for us to move forward would be to take our emotions and our hearts into account. And if we connect the energy from Sirius A, the energy from the fall of Atlantis, and the energy that we as a society faced today, I would actually say that I believe that the fall of Atlantis is or was a karmic theme from Sirius A. In Sirius, they have timelines where this karmic loop and theme of mental excess energy being in control, and for higher dimensional beings to sometimes solve their problems, they continue to live on in lower density realities. If that makes sense. You know what, since we are filming this, let me draw this for you. And we will use a picture I use quite a lot in my courses, though this time we are going to use it differently. We are going to use what I call the projection perspective. And the projection perspective is us using a movie theater as a metaphor. So here we have the movie projector. I can do it like this for it to be clearer. We have the movie projector, and the movie projector represents, well, could be our soul, but it can also be Source God, the universe, and the creator. So that's the movie projector. And then we have a light stream, and then here is the movie screen, where we actually see the movie. So here, in the movie, in the light beam, in the movie theater, this can be divided in many different ways. And today we can divide it between the dimensions of 9 and 1. So we would be in the 3rd dimension or something like that. So highest and closest to Source God, the creator, closest to the movie projector, we have the 9th dimension, or could be the a billionth dimension, no matter how many dimensions you think exists. We have the highest amounts of dimensions closest to God in this case, and then the further down we go, the lower dimensions. So now we will simplify it and say that we live in a 3-dimensional world, because we do, if we look at it from a physical perspective. So here in between we would have the other dimensions, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. So somewhere here we would have the lifetimes on Sirius, somewhere in dimension maybe 4 to 6, something like that. And Source has an idea. Source wants to see how Source, in expressions of different souls, how would Source handle a situation where it gets tempted by greed, control, and efficiency, mental efficiency? Like, what would happen? That is a challenge God, Source the Creator, wants to experience, and it decides to experience it on Sirius. But sometimes that experience continue down to lower dimensions and density planes, which was what happened on Atlantis. And because Atlantis fell, that karmic pattern, it becomes a karmic loop. Today we get to experience the same karmic lesson but in another shape and form. So today we will have AI as one example, and just overall, are we gonna only let our mind and logic to control and dictate how we live and how we shape our society, or are we gonna tune into our heart? And using the projection perspective to understand this better is that if Source God the Creator want to experience something and first starts to experience this in the 5th dimension or 6th dimension in Sirius, like if this were to be a movie theater, if someone here, we would have the crowd, right? The seats. If someone stands here in the crowd or in the audience, we would get a shadow on the screen. So when this karmic theme is playing out here, we will have that karmic theme playing here, and maybe even further down in dimensions. So we are a reflection of what is happening in higher dimensions, and our frequency determine what higher dimensional reality we are attuned to. We in the 3rd dimension are a manifestation of what happens on Sirius, on the frequency we live right now. So we are a manifestation of something that happens here. Everything is a manifestation of an idea Source has. Everything is a manifestation, and it continues down until it's resolved. When it's resolved here, it gets resolved here. And this is actually a more complex movie screen, so it goes both ways. So if we release it here, we release it here, or rather we shift to a higher timeline, to another movie projector where another story is played. So as we shift, as we tune into our heart more, when we as humans raise our frequency, as we reach higher timelines of our reality, we will perceive and see different timelines of Atlantis and Sirius A. And now I don't really know if in the next episode if we should speak about the more positive aspects and traits of beings connected to Sirius A, or if we should go deeper into this and speak about the law of one versus law of polarity applied to this Sirius A discussion between our mind and our heart. Yeah, there's many things we could discuss. Maybe this again got a little advanced, I don't know. Please let me know, is this too advanced? Is it fun? Is it challenging? I'd really like to know how you perceive this. But now we tried something new today, and we'll see if it's audio or video next time. Please leave some feedback, and if you have a friend or 2 or 3 or I don't know, hundreds of friends who would find this interesting, like the lower timeline of Sirius A, and then we actually have a karmic cycle and karmic dynamic from Sirius A playing out here on Earth today. If you have a fellow starseed who would like that information, please feel free to share this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Ashua podcast. If you liked this episode, I would be very, very grateful and happy if you shared it with a friend. I hope this episode brought you a deeper sense of clarity, connection, and remembrance. And if you want more, you find me at ashua.space and thevibrancyclub.com. Until next time, take care.